Hey guys, Evercry TCG here. To mark my return, I will be spoiling some new cards for Set 3. Some of you may have been wondering, wasn't there a previous Set 3? Well, I'm kind of restarting it, but all those cards are still available on Untap. Let's get things started with Cornucopia. Cornucopia is a Earth Drill, which is a new type of card I am introducing in Set 3. A drill, you play it and it stays in play for as long as the fade number is, and then after that, those fade counters are removed, the drill will go away. It's like an enchantment from Magic the Gathering, or like an ongoing ability that stays throughout the game. This fade number is 3, so it stays around for about 3 turns. And its ability is whenever someone exhausts a mana stone to create mana, they create an additional Earth mana along with everything else. So I'm changing things up. Instead of saying Earth mana, I've created a little diamond shape to show that it is Earth mana instead of just having to spell it out. This makes it a lot more eye-catching and just better design all around. I think this is a very powerful card if used correctly and can be used in a lot of combo decks in the future. Let's get to something a bit more familiar. An ally by the name of Sage of Scales. Now this is introducing a new ability that's going to be found in the 3rd set called Devoted, where most of the time the mana cost of cards is 4 mana and one of them has to be the type of mana of the card. For example, an air card, it costs 4 mana, but at least one of those has to be air mana. This one, all of it has to be air mana, which is why it's called Devoted. You actually need to focus your deck around this card, making it a bit more expensive to cast in other decks. The Sage archetype is a great introduction of that. All Sage cards are going to have this Devoted type, and this is the air one. So you can exhaust the Sage of Scales and turn everything into 300/300 air constructs with no abilities until end of turn. So if you have a bunch of little tokens and just like a small army, with this ability you can even the playing field, and as long as you have more allies than them, you can totally obliterate their giant allies that they have on the field. Very cool card, and I think it's definitely worth the 4 air mana it costs. Now time for another Sage, the water type Sage, Sage of the Mask. This one looks quite daunting because there's a lot of text on this, but it's because we're trying out a new ability that you normally don't see in this card game. So it has the Devoted thing, where it costs 5, and all 5 of that must be water mana. And its ability is exhaust this ally. This ally becomes a copy of target ally. This ally is still a water type, and its name is still Sage of the Mask. If the targeted ally was legendary, this ally does not gain that ability. If the target dies, this ally loses all of its abilities and turns back to normal, while in the graveyard, this ally is not a copy of the targeted ally. That's a lot of words, and I'm just going to try to summarize it. So you can exhaust it, and it duplicates something that's already on the field. For example, if your opponent has a giant war elephant, the Sage of the Mask can exhaust itself and become a war elephant. However, there's a couple things that stay the same. This fake war elephant is still a water type, it's not earth, and its name is still called Sage of the Mask. And for example, if that real war elephant was legendary, the Sage of the Mask would not. This is a very difficult card to pull off, especially if you or your opponent don't really have any big allies. It's definitely a very tricky card, which is why it goes in water, and it gives you a lot of flexibility and really exudes creativity, and smart players will be able to use this card to great effect. I am a huge fan of this card, especially the artwork. I'm pretty proud of that one, and maybe we'll see in the future, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, that will be all for this spoiler. Coming up next in the next couple days is going to be another set of spoilers, hopefully with some more cards. I've been working a lot on this over my winter break, and hopefully you guys will see some more interesting and maybe some higher variety cards in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me your personal thoughts on these cards, and do any of them look too overpowered? Anyway, Evercry TCG out.